Caribbean cruise will become the biggest party in poker as these 6 players battle over $1 million prize pool. 2 Las Vegas gamblers and 4 online amateurs are sailing into a storm, and the party is about to begin.
In the middle of the Caribbean, there's a treasure on the high seas. Next on the World Poker Tour.
The World Poker Tour is a series of international poker tournaments featuring the biggest games, the greatest players, and the largest payouts on the planet. Tonight, we're on board the luxury liner MS Zandam for the finals of the Party Poker Million 2. 177 players started this tournament by qualifying online or by putting up $5,500 in cold hard cash. Now, only 6 players are left to fight over the $1 million prize pool and the ultimate party favor, a coveted entry in the WPT Championship, a season-ending Las Vegas shootout worth millions. Now, down to the WPT Arena for the call of the action with poker expert Mike Sexton and Hollywood home game ace Vince Van Patten.
Hi everyone, welcome to the World Poker Tour. I'm Mike Sexton along with Vince Van Patten, and we are on Holland America's MS Zandam for the finals of the Party Poker Million 2. Vince, championship poker on the high seas. It just doesn't get much better than this.
Oh, you're right, Mike. Gone are the days of the smoke-filled backroom poker games at the pool hall. Here we are in a packed showroom of a luxurious cruise ship. It is truly amazing with the final 6 of the Party Poker Million 2. And Mike, this is quite a unique event.
Vince, it really is unique. 1, we're on a ship. Number 2, the prize pool's over $1 million. Number 3, we had more entrants in this tournament than any venue on the World Poker Tour this season. And number 4, today's game is Limit Hold'em, which should create more action.
So, Mike, they're about to shuffle up and deal. Let's go down there and meet these dynamic players.
Our current chip leader is a guy named Chip Jett. Now, what a poker name that is. Chip is a professional player from Scottsdale, Arizona. He's starting out today with $303,000 in chips.
Okay, the second guy you're going to see is a man we've seen on the World Poker Tour before. He won at Foxwoods just a couple of weeks ago. Used to be a chess champion. Howard Lederer has $227,000 worth of chips.
In third chip position is Maureen Ferduniak with $167,000 worth of chips. Maureen's hobbies are poker and ballroom dancing. Her and her husband Bob both qualified online to get in this tournament. And Vince, if you'll remember, 1 year ago, Kathy Liebert won the inaugural Party Poker Million, and now will Maureen make it 2 in a row for the ladies?
I don't know, but I'll tell you something. This next story is amazing. Fourth chip position right now is a guy that went online with $1. He parlayed it into 3 different tournaments, got into this. He's at the final 6 table. He's got $85,000 worth of chips. It's a miracle story, and his name is Tim Lark.
In fifth chip position is a guy named Dan Coupel from Saskatoon, Canada. Dan is the youngest player to enter this tournament this year. He's a 21-year-old law student. He's starting out today with $77,000 in chips.
Okay, and our short stack today is a man from San Diego. They call him the Cowboy because he looks like a cowboy. He's got the hat. You're going to love this guy. He's got only $28,000 worth of chips, but in poker, anything can happen.
Well, Vince, here we go. We're on the high seas for the biggest party in poker, the Party Poker Million 2.
We're playing Limit Hold'em, 8 and 16,000. It's going to be up to Cowboy Joe Simpkins to act first.
And what's so exciting is we get to see these players' cards.
Absolutely, Mike. We get into the minds of these great poker players, and it is a true thrill to see it.
And look at Cowboy, picks up a 7-5 offsuit and folds.
All right, Chip Jett is going to raise it up early, and he's got ace-9 of clubs.
Remember, Chip is the major chip leader here, and he's jetting into the first pot. But he's being called by Maureen Ferduniak.
Maureen Ferduniak's got a real hand, a pair of 6s wired. She's going to call this hand.
Dan Coupel folds a king-deuce offsuit. Howard folds a deuce-5. Tim Lark, a 3-8, and here we go.
Two-way action. Here comes the flop. Oh, that's going to help Chip Jett. He hit his pair of aces.
Now remember, Maureen just had 2 6s here.
He's swinging it out. He's betting already. He can bet 8,000, and that's what he does. And Maureen's going to go away. Simple as that.
There it is. The chip leader adds to his stack.
Nice little hit there. Hits his aces.
He jets farther out in front.
I think people would say I'm probably more of a gambler. I don't get too many thirds or fourths or seconds, so I usually win or go out in a blaze of glory.
$8,000 you can bet.
Well, limit poker means there's a set amount that you can bet, Vince, and you must bet that amount. You can't bet less and you can't bet more.
Right.
Let's have a little tutorial on how to play limit hold'em.
Now, Party Poker Million 2 is the one tournament on the World Poker Tour that plays limit hold'em, which is slightly different than the no-limit Texas hold'em we're used to seeing.
Well, Vince, the game is the same. Every player starts with 2 hole cards. There's then a round of betting. 3 community cards called the flop are now placed face up on the board.
After the flop, another round of betting comes. Then the 4th card. That's what we call the turn card. Then there's more betting. Then the final community card is flopped up. The river card lands on the board. One last round of bets. Whole cards get turned up, and the best hand rakes in the chips, and that is called Texas Hold'em.
Well, the change here is in how much you can bet at any one time. In limit poker, there is a set amount on the bet on each of the 4 rounds of betting. Before the flop and on the flop are the 2 lower limit betting rounds, and on the turn and the river card are the 2 larger limit betting rounds. Let's see which one of these 6 players is up to the task here today.
And it's going to be on Maureen Feduniak right now to act first. Maureen's got 4-7, junk hand. Now look at this. The young kid, Dan Coupel, has picked up a pair of jacks, and he's just calling, Mike.
Well, this is a bad play on his part, in my opinion. You better raise in limit poker and try to drive players out of the pot.
Well, Howard's out, Cowboy's out. Back to Chip Jet, who's got a 9-6 offsuit.
He checks. We're going to see a flop.
Here it comes.
Flop is 6-4 deuce. Now Chip has flopped the top pair.
He's going to bet his 8,000.
Dan Coupel, remember, has 2 jacks. He is the best hand right now. And Dan raises it to 16,000, and Chip calls.
Well, he's got that overpair. Dan has him in a good position here.
Let's see the turn card.
Okay, now look at this.
Another 6 comes off. Whoa, this is a home run here for Chip Jet.
And he's checking it. Dan's going to bet it. He's betting 16,000 right now. That is the limit. Now Chip Jet has 3 of a kind.
And he's raising.
Of course he is.
He's putting 32,000 out there.
Ooh-wee.
Whoa. Well, you can see right now, Vince, that Dan Coupel, by trying to trap and slow play his hand, has put himself in the trap here.
Well, you're right. He played it a little slow. And it came back to stab him here, but you never know. He could catch it on 5th Street. He's got a decision to make.
Well, remember, he only started the tournament with 77,000, and he folds his hand. What a laydown there by Dan Coupel.
That is a pretty good laydown.
Won the first 2 pots.
That's a good poker play.
Well, I think he's laying it down because he's aggravated. He didn't raise the pot to start with. Had he done so, he would have won the pot immediately, and he paid for that mistake right there by letting our chip leader gather more chips.
I've taken poker to the next level. There's lots of these pros that aren't well-rounded in their game. I see a lot of mistakes in some of these so-called excellent pros.
Chip Jet picks up the pot. He inherits the button this time.
Now, the button, you're going to be hearing a lot about the button in this tournament, is that little white hockey puck that moves around the table each hand. It tells the dealer where to start dealing.
And the 2 players to the left of the dealer button have force bets called blinds. The blinds make sure there is action and money in the pot on every hand.
Here we go with the next hand.
Well, you can see on Dan Coupel's face, he's not a very happy camper right now, Vince. Well, remember, he's only started with 77,000 in chips today, and he just doesn't have that kind of chips to be playing around, in my opinion.
Okay, it's going to be on Howard to act first. Howard Lederer, WPT champion. On Tim Lark, going out with 6 deuce.
Look at this. Cowboy Joe Simpkins has picked up a pair of queens. Lovely ladies.
Oh, now that is a huge hand.
And he raises it to 16,000. We see Chip fold on the button with a deuce-5 offsuit, and Marine folds a 3-7. And here comes Dan Coupel with ace-jack.
Yeah, well, ace-jack's a pretty strong hand. He's got to consider this.
Well, he's in the big blind, and he calls. Costs him another bet.
Here's the flop, and he's picked up his ace. But the Cowboys picked up 3 of a kind.
Yep. Dan Coupel heading for Whitewater here.
Dan betting Cowboys going to raise. And he's all in with that.
Please turn up your cards.
Oh, what a disaster for Dan Coupel.
He's virtually drawing dead. He's got to hit 2 runners here to win this pot.
Oh, he's got the aces, but Cowboy Joe Simpkins has 3 of a kind at this point. Here comes 4th Street.
Make it 4 of a kind.
Oh.
4 lovely ladies. Look at Dan Coupel's face.
Oh, boy, the Cowboy's going to do it to him. Here we go.
And it's a 7 on the last card. 4 queens for Cowboy.
Cowboy gets back on his horse.
No, you can't fault him for calling one more bet. Then ace come up. His opponent happened to flop 2 queens. Just tough luck for Dan Coupel right here. He is running into 2 brick walls back to back.
He's got his pair of jacks cracked. He's got his aces.
He's down to just a few thousand in chips now. But the Cowboys revived.
You know, by the way, I played against a lot of Cowboys. I've never seen a Cowboy lose when I'm at the table.
Hey.
So Dan Coupel on the ropes here, Mike. As we said in limit poker, the action is really fast. He is spinning out of control at this point.
Well, he's going to be all in the big blind right here for 5,000. Now, the big blind is supposed to be 8,000, but he doesn't have that much. So you can always play for the amount that you have.
It's going to be on Howard first. World Poker Tour champion at Foxwoods looks at his hand. He's got a king-jack, Mike. Pretty strong hand.
Yes, he has, and he's going to raise it. He's going to try to shut everybody out.
Tim Lark's got a queen-5. He's not going to play it.
And Joe Simpkins with a king-5. He's going to fold.
King-5 of clubs, too.
Chip Jet
Jet's going
folds.
out.
Marine folds, and it's Howard and the big blind.
Well, Dan needs this. He's on the ropes here.
Well, we have a king-jack against a 7-5, so Howard's a substantial favorite to win the pot. Let's see what happens on the flop here.
Don't forget, you got 2 cards in your hand, 5 in the middle to make your best 5 cards. Here we go. Here's the flop.
Flop comes Queen, Jack, 7.
Oh, man. They both flopped a pair.
And Dan is in big trouble now. He's going to have to catch a 7 or a 5. He's going to be our 6th-place finisher. It doesn't look good for Dan Coupel right now.
It's a 9. Nobody has a flush draw. 1 more card.
Here we go. Can he survive? No.
It's an
He doesn't
8.
do it.
Big round of
Dan
applause
Coupel
for
is
Dan
gone.
Coupel.
The 21-year-old law student is going back to the books, Vince.
Dan Coupel is going to have to go back and watch some Rounders tapes because this is not how it's supposed to be happening.
Well, you're right, Vince. It was a nice tournament for him, but his case is closed tonight.
I should have devoted all my chips when Chip came over the top of me on the turn, and it was a huge mistake, so I paid big.
Well, Vince, 1 down and 4 to go before we crown a champion. Stay tuned for more action on the high seas on the World Poker Tour.
Sheila, it's to you.
Does anyone like a Danish?
AbsolutePoker.com. You in?
In the middle of the Caribbean, the Party Poker Million 2 is heating up. Dan Coupel was the first man overboard, leaving 5 poker sharks left to fight over the $1 million prize pool.
We are back at the action on board the MS Zandam on the Party Poker Million 2.
Well, we've seen some great battles between these players so far, Vince, but right now the short stacks are going to have to make a move. We're down to our final 5 players now. Chip Jet is still our chip leader with over 350,000 in chips. In second place is Howard Letter with over 270,000. In third place, Marine Feduniak with 140,000. In fourth place, Joe Simpkins, and Tim Lark is in fifth position.
Mike, you think about it. We're down to 5 players, 177 started. Down to these 5, over 263,000 to the winner.
And Marine folds a King-8 offsuit. Howard folds a 10-3. And here comes 10 Lark with ace high. He's raising on the button in position.
Okay.
He bet 16,000.
Well, he's come out to play. He's got ace-5, but Cowboy has an ace-jack.
He's calling him.
He's going to call.
Chip gets out of their way. So here we got a pot between the Cowboy and Tim Lark.
The flop is Queen, 6, Deuce, Rainbow.
And here comes Cowboy. Cowboy's firing right out there.
And he's going to win this pot.
What a play by Cowboy to lead into a razor right there. When the flop comes Queen, 6, Deuce, no help for him. Giddy up Cowboy there.
Well, it's always nice. This is what you got to do. You don't have a cinch hand, of course. But if someone checks in front of you, it's always easy to bet. See what happens. Cowboy's going to take that pot.
Some people say I'm a little wild.
She may have a bet.
I hear him talking, but I feel that if the right cards hit, I'll win. If not, I lose.
Action swings to Howard Lederer. World Poker Tour winner before. He's going to go out with King 4.
King 4 offsuit.
Tim's going away with a 5 deuce.
He folds. The Cowboy picks up 9-5 offsuit and folds.
And Chip Chet's going up with a Queen 6. He's going to raise this.
He has raised this pot with a Queen 6 offsuit, just trying to steal the blinds. But Marine's not going for it.
She's going to call with Ace 4, Mike.
She's picked up Ace High, and she calls the raise.
We're going to see a flop. And here it is.
Flop is 3-3 deuce. Doesn't help either player, but Chip is going to bet in that Marine now has a straight draw, a wheel draw, though, so it's not a bad flop for her.
Well, Chip is going to do a little semi-bluff here. He really has nothing. He's betting into it.
Now, here's where Marine just calls. See, I think she should have raised right here, Vince.
Oh, man, that helps Chip. He's got a pair of 6s. Got a legitimate hand here.
He has helped his hand by making 2 6s on the turn, and he bets him. He bet 16,000.
Marine.
Now, Marine has an inside straight draw. Remember, a 5 will make her a straight. An ace will make her aces up. She calls 16,000 here on 4th Street.
Last card coming up.
Last card is another 3. Now, Chip checks.
And she's not going to try to steal it.
It goes check, check.
The turn of the card's over.
Chip Jet has made 3s full of 6s, and he is going to win this pot. Now, Vince, in limit poker here, here's something for the viewers to pay attention to. Marine could have and should have raised that hand on the flop when she made the straight draw.
Perhaps you're right, but you know, Marine doesn't really even look like a poker player. I mean, she looks like a very lovely lady.
Lovely lady, you're right about that part, but she is a fierce poker competitor.
They literally try and run over you. It's the men that do it. You wait until you've got a good hand, and then you let them try and do it again, and then you just give it to them.
But the aggressive play of Chip Jet is sure paying off today.
Okay, the action's going to go to Cowboy. He's got 7-5 off suit. He's not going to call it. Back on Chip. He's got 9-10 of diamonds. He's going to raise it up.
And he raises with that hand.
Maureen's gone with Jack 7. Howard's going to... He's got a Queen 8 of diamond, Howard.
Howard's going to call out of the small blind with a Queen 8 of diamonds.
And Tim Lark has an Ace 3 offsuit.
And he's calling also.
Here comes the flop.
He's on the short stack. The crowd is cheering him.
3 deuces on the flop.
Quack, quack, quack. 3 little ducks come in there.
Howard, it's going to be on Howard first. And this really doesn't help anybody. Well, Tim Lark, a little desperate. He doesn't have much money.
It's gone check, check, check. Right now, Tim has the best hand with Ace High, but no longer.
A queen comes up.
Look at that. Howard smoothly checks. He's got deuces full of queens, and Tim checks behind him. And Chip bets 16,000.
Howard caught the queen. You're right. He's got a full house here.
And he is called now.
He smooth calls. Now, Tim's got a decision.
Look at Tim. Now, Tim has an Ace High here.
Time.
He is calling for time here. Means he wants to play this pot.
And this guy's amazing. You know that he actually got here for $1. He played a tournament, parlayed that into 3 different satellite tournaments to get him a seat. So for the price of a candy bar, he has a shot of over $250,000. And he's going to go all in. He's going to call this.
You're right, Vince. Now he's going to need an ace. He's a desperate man now. If he doesn't get it, he's going to be our 5th place finisher.
He's standing up, getting ready to go. He needs an ace to stay alive. He's not going to get it.
He does not do it. Now there's still 2 players in the pot.
They're going to check. Howard's going to win the pot.
Tim Lark from Dayton, Ohio, goes out in 5th position.
He's shaking hands, a real gentleman.
What a performance he had for $1 to get as far as he did, Vince, to the final table and take home over $50,000 and a week to remember for life.
Tim, you must be disappointed, but you sure made back your $1.
Hey, I can't be too disappointed. I came a long way for $1. No complaints.
How about the experience as a whole with Party Poker and World Poker
Great
Tour?
experience, from the online experience straight through to this. I've had a great time. The tournaments online were great. Coming here, the people were great. The way they ran the tournament was excellent. I had a great time.
Now, Mike, I still find it very hard to believe that Tim Lark actually qualified for this tournament by only paying $1.
Yeah, and one online player didn't pay a dime to get in this tournament. He got in on a free roll. He won the cruise for 2, a seat in this championship. Amazing.
It is.
As Shauna Hyatt found out, keeping the players happy is all part of the plan on Party Poker Million 2.
After a few days on board the Party Poker Million cruise, one thing becomes clear. These guys know poker, and they know how to throw a party.
Party Poker Million 2. Yes!
Party poker, not the only side I play at. You know, you have an opportunity for $25 to play for $300,000.
I won a $25 tournament.
It cost me $25 to get here.
It cost me nothing more than $1.
You know, play for $300,000, that's really something to shoot for.
Best tables, best action.
The people couldn't be nicer.
While we're watching television or reading, we play. Every night. We're addicted.
Party Poker is one of the fastest growing online sites in the world, with more players joining the party every month.
Anyone who can check email can play poker at Party Poker.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's like, you know, you kick back, sit on the couch, make some money. You know, nothing beats that. With an ultimate prize of a card player cruise and a chance to play poker with the stars, everyone is joining in.
I'm going to rock this tournament, I hope.
I have a young man who I work with. He turned me on to Party Poker. I don't think he believed I could actually play it.
A lot of our friends and acquaintances find it fascinating.
There's always a standing invitation from Party Poker to play online.
Last second qualifiers. We Party Poker Million.
And maybe get a shot to attend the biggest party of the year.
This vacation has died and gone to heaven.
Well, we're down to our final 4 players, Vince. And Howard Letter's made a nice move so far. He's just about tied Chip Jet with a chip lead. Maureen Feduniak in 3rd place with about $135,000, and the Cowboy sitting in 4th place with a little over $70,000.
Well, Howard Letter, a WPT champion already, going for his 2nd title here. Not only the money you win, but you get that guaranteed seat of the WPT championships. Now, he's already won one of those.
And many consider this to be his best game, limit hold'em.
Cowboy's got ace-10 right here, and look at this. Cowboy's going up. He's going to raise it.
He's fired it up.
Chips out, Maureen's out.
And now here's Howard Letter picking up a nice hand, Queen Jack of Spade.
Yeah, very nice.
And he calls one more bet out of the big blind. So we're going to have a pot between Howard, a former World Poker Tour champion, and the Cowboy, who started the day on the short stack, an online qualifier. And the flop comes ace-10-9. Now this gives Howard an open-end straight draw, but it gives the Cowboy the top 2 pair. And notice Howard has checked with an open-end straight draw. Here comes the Cowboy, going for his saddlebags. Howard Letter has check raised right here. But the Cowboy's not going for it. He re-raises him with the top 2 pair. And Howard calls him.
Here we go, 4th Street.
It's a jack. Howard checks, and the Cowboy bets again.
He's going to call the 16 grand.
Howard calls again. A major pot developing right here.
Howard needs to catch here, but he's not going to.
A 3. Howard checks, and the Cowboy turns up aces and 10s. He's going to win this pot. And the crowds love it because they're pulling for the online qualifiers. Vince, we had 4 out of the 6 final players at the final table who qualified online on Party Poker to get in this event.
Well, look at the Cowboy take that money. That's the way to play poker.
Yep, he picked up a nice pot there. Now notice Howard, you know, he has the best composure, I think, in poker. He never gets rattled at the table. He's a very composed poker player. And that's why he does so well when he plays poker.
I am trying to win really hard. I am trying as hard as I can try. I am thinking as hard as I can think at the table. You may not see that, but it's there.
Well, back on the action. It's going to be on Chip, who's got a King 8.
He maintains his aggressive style. He raises the pot with a King 8 offsuit.
Maureen's going to go away.
Maureen folds her hand, 10-6.
But look at this. Howard's picked up a big hand, ace-10.
And Howard calls. The Cowboy gets out of the way. Now here's our 2 chip leaders, the 2 professional players at the table. They're clashing.
King 8 against ace-10. Lots of chips out here. Here comes the flop.
Flop is 9-7 deuce, no help to either player, but it doesn't slow Chip down. He fires out and bets 8,000.
And Howard quickly calls. Look at this.
What a call by Howard Leder right there. He has the best hand, but he doesn't really know it.
He's not buying it yet.
The turn card is the tray of spades.
Howard checks again.
Now, I'm amazed Chip is going to fire again after being called on that flop. He bet 16,000 more.
That's what a poker player does.
Now, it takes a lot of heart to fire 2 shells in a row when a guy's called you twice in a row like Howard has done Chip right here.
Look at Howard Leder, the thinking man's poker player.
And Howard folds.
Well, Howard lays it down. He got poked a little bit there by Chip Jet.
Nice bet by Chip Jet.
Boy, take your hat off to Chip Jet right there. His aggressive play is paying off here today.
Took the WPT champion of Foxwoods right out of that hand.
He took him down a notch there. He got Howard to lay down the best hand. Chip Jet, aggressive play, winning poker right here.
Things are really heating up here in the Caribbean.
Vince, exciting limit action today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more on the World Poker Tour.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Party Poker Million 2 is now a battle between 2 online competitors and 2 in-your-face Las Vegas pros.
Well, we've seen some great battles between these players so far, Vince, but right now the short stacks are going to have to make a move. Let's get to the table.
All right. It's got to be Maureen. She's got 2 ace.
Under the gun, Maureen's going to bring it in for a raise.
Howard's going to go out. Cowboys out with 7-5. Chip's calling with a 6-8 of spades. Here comes the flop.
Whoa, Chip Jet has flopped a flush and a straight flush draw.
Oh, man, and he's checking. He's setting a trap here.
Well, Maureen's flopped top pair. She
Absolutely.
has to bet, and she does so. And Chip raises her. Chip has flopped a flush with a straight flush draw. Maureen has flopped the top pair.
Maureen's going to be stubborn. She's hanging in there.
The turn card is the tray.
And now look at this. Maureen has made a straight here.
Oh.
So this is going to get her in deeper hot water.
Oh, man. She doesn't believe Chip has a flush. Hard to believe.
Chip has bet 16,000 and Maureen is raising. And now Chip Jet is sitting on a flush right here.
Now, he's just thought for a second, wait, could she have a bigger flush? You got to even consider that.
Well, for him to lose this pot, she has to have a bigger flush than he does.
I raise.
And he doesn't believe it. He's going to raise it, Mike.
He's raising it. He's going to say, well, if you got a bigger flush than this, good luck to you.
Now, Maureen is just sick about that raise. That tells her a lot.
She's calling anyway.
Yes, she is. This is a disaster for Maureen Feduniak. Train wreck waiting to happen here.
Now, the 9 of spade comes off. Now, Chip's not going to like that card because it could kill his flush if she had 1 spade.
Maureen checks. She shows ace deuce.
Oh, man.
Clubs. Chip has 6-8 of spades.
Chip's flush holds up. He wins a monster pot right there.
That is a killer for Maureen.
That is a damaging blow for Maureen Feduniak. No question about it.
I don't think she played it too bad, but she just got unlucky. She had to hit that straight. Well, the guy had the flush on the flop. What are you going to do?
Well, let's remember, last year, a lady won this tournament, so no man has ever won the Party Poker Million.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, we're back to the action. It's going to be on the Cowboy, Joe Simpkins. He's picked up 6 queen of clubs. Is he going to play?
Well, he's in first position here, as we say, in early position.
He's thinking about playing this, but he's not.
He folds the queen 6 of clubs.
Chip Jet is going to fold.
Chip Jet folds on the button. He had deuce 8 offsuit.
And then Maureen's got 9-6 of spades. And she is going to call this.
And Howard with an 8-5 opts to see a flop here, so we're going to have a flop between Maureen and Howard. Flop comes ace 10-5. Maureen checks.
Well, that's going to help Howard a little bit. He's got a little piece of that.
Well, he made the bottom pair. He bets. He wins the pot. But Vince, one more time, let's take our hats off to the ladies. Remember, Kathy Liebert was the defending champion. A lady won this event last year, has a chance to do so again. You know, it's great to see the women coming out and playing in poker championships and doing so well.
Maureen Feduniak says her friends are fascinated to learn she's a high-stakes poker player. The only people who are really shocked are the players that are busted by this very proper English lady called Mo.
I play solid poker. A lot of people underestimate women in general as poker players. But the players that I sort of are familiar with, I don't think they underestimate me.
She appears to what she is. She's a top-notch player. She's a very, very strong opponent. I think that probably her raises get more respect at the table than anyone else.
But some of the guys think they can run over the girls, but it's not the way it works.
I don't try to do anything fancy, and I play the cards. And eventually, you'll have a couple of hands where you can sort of get back at them.
Her opponents may be surprised to find steel in the spine of this English grandmother, but Maureen knows exactly the type of player she is.
I'm not an analytical player. I'm an instinctive player. I'm a very, very bad mathematician. I can barely add 1 and 1. So when people talk about pot odds, I just know, oh, well, there's a lot of money there, so I'll play it. I used to not be very competitive, but now I'm very competitive. I mean, I want to win. There's no question about that.
And she just might do it. After all, no man has ever won the Party Poker Million.
I know that's putting a lot of pressure on me. I'd like to keep it that way.
Well, we're on this ship for the Party Poker Million 2, and right now, Chip Jett is our big chip leader with over $450,000 in chips. Howard Letter's in second chip position with about $260,000 in chips. Cowboy Joe Simpkins has about $124,000, and Maureen Feduniak has about $50,000. So the two professional players are in first and second chip position right now, but don't count the online qualifiers out yet, Vince.
Action's going to be on Chip Jett. He's got 5 and 10. We call that Woolworths. He's going out. Maureen's going out.
And here comes Howard. Now he's got 7-8 in the small blind. And look at this. He is raising.
Yes, he is.
Now look at this. Cowboy Joe has picked up big slick ace-king and just calls, Vince.
Ace-king, a strong hand in limit poker. Let's see the flop.
He's trying to trap him here, but now notice this flop, 10-6-4. This gives Howard a two-way straight draw.
Howard's bet out. He's going to try to pull off this bluff with an inside straight draw.
Well, he's got a two-way straight. He can catch a 9 to make a straight or a 5 to catch a straight.
It's now 16,000.
But notice the Cowboy raised him on the flop with just an ace-king. What a raise by the Cowboy there.
Nice strong play.
And the king comes on the turn.
Oh, man. This guy's clairvoyant or what?
Oh, the Cowboy looks like a maestro here. Howard checks, and the Cowboy bets 16,000. Of course, Howard's going to call him with his two-way straight draw.
He's stubborn. He's going to call this.
He's trying to catch a straight. He doesn't do it. A 3 comes off. Now, the only way Howard can win this pot is to bet. He's doing it to try to win it.
He's going to try it.
It's not going to work, though. He's going to get looked up by the Cowboy with the ace-king.
Cowboy's calling it.
Howard turns up a 7-8. The Cowboy turns up his ace-king and wins the pot. A nice pot right there for Cowboy.
Howard's just kicking himself. He's saying, gee, I could have just thrown that 7-8 away. I could have been about $60,000 richer at this point.
And he bluffed the hand at the river, so he gave away another $16,000. But I don't blame him for that, Vince, because that's the only way he could win that pot. You have to admire him for betting there at the river.
That's a very disappointed Howard Lederer.
Well, he took a big hit right there by Cowboy Joe Simpkins, that's for sure.
Okay, back to the action. It's going to be on Howard Lederer to act first, and look at this. He's got a big hand. He's got ace-queen.
And he's going to raise it. Comes in for $16,000.
Cowboy's got 8-10 offsuits. Not going to play. Chip Jett has jack-queen. He's also not going to play.
Here comes our lovely lady. Now she's going to call with ace-3 of diamonds. She calls Howard's raise, so it's Maureen Feduniak and Howard Lederer.
Oh, man, they both have aces, but let's not forget the second card, the kicker card. Howard's got the queen kicker compared to Maureen's 3 kicker at this point.
So right now, she's on a sinking ship here, Vince, unless she gets some help.
This could be it for Maureen. You're watching the Party Poker Million 2. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. Party Poker online qualifier Maureen Feduniak is in a sea of troubles against Foxwoods champ Howard Lederer. Can she pull a miracle card, or will she be the next to leave the party?
We're down to 4, the Party Poker $1.2 million on the World Poker Tour. Let's get back to the action.
Marine has ace-3 of diamonds. She's going to have some help.
Here comes the flop, Mike.
Flop is ace-8-5.
Oh, man.
Which means they both flop the top pair. They both have 2 aces, and Marine leads out and bets 8,000.
Well, she's got that bad second card.
This could spell doom for Marine Feduniak right here, I'm afraid. Howard bets 16,000, and Marine calls.
Here comes the 4th street.
And it's a 5. Now, this means they both have aces and 5s, but Howard's kicker, the card that breaks ties is what we call a kicker, is larger, so he's leading right now, and she's in dire straits.
Well, Howard bet it. Maureen, now they're going to turn it over because Maureen has no money left, and she's going to be all in with this.
Ace-queen for Howard. Ace-3 of diamonds for
This
Maureen.
could be it for Maureen.
Marine's going to have to catch a 5 or a king to get a tie out of this pot, or an ace, otherwise she's going to be our 4th place finisher.
Here it comes.
It's a 7.
No, she's not going to do it.
She doesn't do it.
It's all over for Marine Feduniak. But here we are. That was a great effort.
Yes, it was, Vince. And she does waltz home with 79,000, so, give her a hand. She qualified online to get here, and right now she'll be heading toward the ballroom to do some dancing on the ship.
She's walking away, our 4th place finisher. Such elegance, such class. She really is a classy lady. Almost looks like she's walking off and went broke on the Titanic.
When I went up against Chip, I thought I was going to win the pot because I had a spade and it turned out he had a flush, and I did not realize that he had the flush, of course. I was very confident that I was going to win that pot, so that was a big disappointment to me.
Well, Vince, it's exciting. We are down to our final 3 players on the MS Zandam on the Holland Cruise Line here at the Party Poker $1.2 million in a packed showroom. What a setting, what an environment, and what action we're seeing here tonight.
Well, 3 great players, 134 won their way online.
Well, you're right, Vince.
But what's kind of interesting is 2 guys just jumped on board and paid their money in. That would be Howard Lederer and Chip Jett.
Now, a couple sharks swam up to the ship here, jumped on here to get in this tournament, and they're sitting pretty good right now.
Okay, it's going to be back to the action on Chip Jett. He has King 10.
He's on the button, in position, as we say, and he raised on the button. And look at this. Howard 3 bets this pot out of the small blind with ace high.
And Cowboy's calling with ace-3 of hearts. This is going to be a 3-way action. It looks like Chip looks like he's going to call it too. He is.
So we have a 3-way action pot, 3 bet before the flop. This is what you see in limit poker, a lot of action, Vince.
This is going to be fun. Here's the flop.
Flop is king, queen, jack.
Howard swings out and bets with nothing, but Chip has the legitimate in-front hand right now with a pair of kings.
Now notice Howard bet ace high, Cowboy called with ace high, and Chip called with 2 kings and an open-end straight draw. Now the deuce of diamonds comes off.
That's not going to help anyone but Chip at this time.
Well, right now, the possibilities are slim right here for Howard and Cowboy. They're going to have to catch a 10 to win this pot.
Chip's got the top pair and an open-end straight draw. He's betting out.
Chip Jett has the best hand and the best draw. Howard folds, but not the Cowboy. He's going to try to spike that 10 to catch a straight here. That's the only card he can win with.
Last card, 6 of diamonds.
He doesn't do it.
Cowboy checks.
Now that was interesting. On 4th Street, you saw the pro player lay down the straight draw, and you saw the amateur draw to the straight. You see the difference there. Howard saved 16,000, whereas the Cowboy opted to call the 16,000.
Well, that was a pretty big hit by the Cowboy.
Well, with 3 players left, Chip Jett sort of taking command here. He now has about 550,000 in chips.
This is a true poker player. He's got a name like Chip Jett. He plays professional poker. He's got a beautiful wife in the audience.
How great is life? You're 28 years old, playing on the high seas for over $250,000.
Chip Jett knows no fear.
Chip is real aggressive.
Chip Jett. Haven't been able to figure out Chip yet. He's played some wild hands going in.
He's very aggressive. I see him as a big threat.
I definitely like to keep people guessing. If people want to avoid playing pots against me, then that really works to my advantage.
And lately, no one wants to play against Chip Jett.
The last few months, I got on a little hot streak. I didn't even know what the different places, 9th and 8th and 7th, I mean, I didn't even know what those paid. I mean, I'm very focused on trying to win. Normally I'm kind of up and down and up and down. I know what I should do, and sometimes it works to my advantage, and sometimes I get myself into a little bit more trouble than if I was a little bit more, scared, I guess.
But Chip Jet doesn't get scared. He just pushes the limit, come what may. And lately, what comes is victory.
It does seem that aggression is rewarded.
And we're back to the action here. Now it's going to be on the cowboy, who's got a deuce-4. He's going to fold his hand. Chip has got a big hand, ace-jack, and he's raised with it. And Howard's going to call with an ace-3.
Yes, he has. So it's ace-jack versus ace-3. And look at this. The flop comes 9-4-3.
Howard's going to come out. He's got a little piece of that. He bets it, and Chip's going to call it.
Chip has called here and hit the joker on the turn. A jack comes on the turn.
Oh, what a great card for Chip.
Now Howard's bet 16,000. And Chip, who just hit the joker, raises it to 32,000.
Chip Jet raises it up.
Now Howard just has bottom pair here. It's another 16,000 to call.
He's got to call it.
Boy, that's quite a call by Howard there.
Well, here he goes. He needs a miracle. He's not going to get it.
And a 7 comes off at the river.
They both checked here.
Turns out ace jack.
Oh, look at that look on Howard's face. He looks seasick. Oh, man, what a tough little beat there.
Well, right now, Howard's got to feel like he's on a raft out in the ocean here.
The sun has set on 3 players. Find out who's next on the World Poker Tour.
Oh, Edward, no, please don't come in. I know this must be difficult for you, and it's really not your fault. But I've met Troy now, and intellectually, he's more on my plane.
You got a plane? Bad poker face. Doesn't matter when you play online at PartyPoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room. Twin engine?
On the World Poker Tour at the Party Poker Million 2, it's down to a shootout between 2 Las Vegas gunslingers and 1 lone cowboy.
And we're back to the action here. It's going to be on Chip this time. He's not going to want to play it.
Now here comes Howard Leder. He looks down and finds 2 5s. The speed limit.
Oh, yeah, 55.
A hand called Presto.
He's going to raise it.
And he does. He pops it up.
Cowboy quickly calls with Jack 7 of spade.
Well, an interesting call by the cowboy. He's in position. Let's see what happens.
Well, he's caught a piece of that. He's got a pair of 7s.
Yeah, but Howard leads out and bets the 2 5s.
Just
Cowboy calls him.
Get it, cowboy.
Now what to do? Cowboy's laughing a little bit there.
And presto, there it is.
Oh, man, what a card on 4th Street for Howard.
3 5s. Cowboy calls him. And a jack comes off.
Oh.
Now that puts 3 hearts on the board, but it gives Cowboy the 2 pair, jacks and 7s.
He's got his false hope going here.
And look at the Cowboy raising him. Let me tell you, he's put the test to Howard Leder right here. Now, Howard has the bottom set, 3 of a kind. However, there's a possible straight and a possible flush on the board.
Yeah, the straight draws looks a little unfeasible, but you're absolutely right about the flush draw. There's always a chance he has it.
Well, I'm telling you, Howard's faced with a test here because he's short on chips. Now, there's a lot of money laying out there.
I'll tell you one thing. If he throws away this hand, he might as well double up on the Dramamine because he would be sick.
He sure would. He's replaying this hand in his mind right now. Did his opponent start with the hearts on the flop? Did he make a flush at the river?
Now, the Cowboy's probably taking it to him all day long. He's been picking on Howard.
Too much money. Howard's calling it. A very nice call right here by Howard Lederer. And he's going to love it when his opponent turns up 2 pair.
Now look at the Cowboys. Look, he's kind of surprised. He thought he was going to win this pot.
I can assure you when Howard took that long to call, I bet he was hoping Howard would call.
That is a nice turn of events for Howard Lederer. He can't believe it himself at this point. He's getting so used to losing all the time.
A big pot right there by Howard Lederer.
Well, Howard definitely needed that. He is coming back. Real impressive play. But you know something? I have to make a note here. Look at Jet's chips in front of him. He's got like a castle of chips in front of him. Massive chip leader.
Well, he's got well over 600,000. Now, for the viewers out there, the white chips are $1,000 chips. The orange chips are $5,000 chips.
Cowboy's going to go out. And Mr. Lucky Chip Jet with all the chips has ace-7 of clubs. He raises, but Howard's coming back with big slick, and he's going to re-raise chip.
Howard has 3-bet this pot, as we say. He's put the 3rd raise in. And here comes our flop.
Oh, man.
Flop is King, King, 5.
Oh, we got 3 of a kind for Howard Lederer. It is party time for Howard.
It is here.
Here we go, 4th Street.
Chip checks. Howard quickly bets. Doesn't even hesitate if you notice. Fires it in there with 3 kings. This is the second hand in a row. He's had 3 of a kind. He's going to win this pot.
Okay, so Howard Lederer takes out the massive amount of chips in front of Chip Jet.
Well, Howard Lederer is a phenomenal poker player, and many consider Howard to be the best limit hold'em poker player in the world. And right now, let's have a closer look at the life of Howard Lederer.
Foxwoods champ Howard Lederer already understands what to expect from the cameras in the crowd. It's nothing new for this former chess pro, who's always at least 1 move ahead of the competition.
I've been aware of this concept of cameras, whole card cameras, and I had done a lot of thinking about it. I felt like I was mentally prepared, and if you let the fear get the best of you, then you are playing not to lose. And playing not to lose any game is definitely a formula for disaster.
Given the stakes of Howard's profession,
certainly I play in games that are the biggest in the world. You can win or lose sometimes 100, 200,000 in a night in some of these games.
it's not surprising the thought he puts into every move.
I think about poker a lot. So it's not just at the tables that I'm playing the game. I'm thinking about it a lot away from the game. So I am trying to win really hard.
Combine an ultra-competitive nature with lethal intelligence, and you've got...
Excellent player.
Wonderful player.
He's one of the world's best poker players. Guy comes in, plays with authority.
That's one player I haven't seen any mistakes in.
He's got my full respect.
A poker player's poker player, a man who will out-prepare his opponents and can almost outthink the cards.
That's checkmate.
So we said it before, Mike, if anybody can keep their composure, it would be Howard Lederer. He has come right back strong.
Well, Vince, it's 100% he's going to keep composure at every final table of a championship event he's in. He's the best in the business at it.
We are down to 3 players. It's going to be on Chip Jet to act first. He's got ace-3. He's not going to play.
Now, the Cowboy only has 64,000 left. Remember, we're playing 8 and 16,000 here, Vince.
Howard's got ace-5. He's going to raise it.
He does raise it out of the small blind, but the Cowboy is not going for it.
Well, look at this. He's got a pair of 6s. He's going to re-raise Howard.
He has 3 bet him. Now, you got to love that. Most amateurs, novice players, they don't 3-bet a top pro. They'll just call it and look at a flop here.
We got a pair of 6s against ace-5. What's going to happen?
Whoa, what a flop here. Now, this flop gives Howard a pair and the nut flush draw. He has the ace of diamonds, giving him a diamond draw.
The Cowboys caught 3 of a kind on the flop.
Howard's got to give him some respect here. He's calling him. He re-raises. He's re-raised him again. This is the Ride 'em Cowboy. The cowgirl's out there says, Ride 'em Cowboy. She's going for it. Whoa, what action we're getting here.
You got a flush draw, and you got 3 of a kind.
And Howard has raised it again.
Howard, we got a problem here.
Look at this hand. This is 4 bets, folks. That's the maximum allowed.
You know, the 4th raise is almost like, you know what, I've lost enough anyhow. I'm going to be macho about this. I want to make another raise. Here we go.
Howard sets him all in on 4th Street.
Oh, man, the Cowboys shows his 3 of a kind. He gets up.
Well, the Cowboys in good shape here right now. He's got 3 of a kind, which means Howard has to catch a diamond that doesn't pair the board to win this pot.
He's got some outs. The Cowboy up on his feet, off his horse. What's going to happen?
Can the Cowboy stay on his horse?
Here we go.
He does. He made aces up. That wasn't enough. The Cowboy sits back down.
Devastating blow for Howard Lederer.
Look at the crowd out there. Ride 'em Cowboy, they're hollering. They're rooting for the online player. He's the last one left. The online qualifiers like to root for the underdog, Vince. You gotta love it. Rocking and rolling on the high seas. Big-time poker action on the World Poker Tour. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. I'm Shauna Hyatt at the finals of the Party Poker Million 2.
Early on, it was fearless pro Chip Jett and Foxwoods champ Howard Lederer who ruled the seas. For law student Dan Coupel, Lucky Dollar guy Tim Lark, and the elegant Maureen Feduniak, this poker party ended much too soon. But nobody pushes around a cowboy, as California rancher Joe Simpkins held his ground against the Vegas pros. Now 3 are left in the battle for the cash, in a party that's just getting started.
Now for the call of the action, let's get back to our expert commentators, Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten.
We are back at the action on board the MS Zandam on the Party Poker Million 2.
Well, we've seen some great battles between these players so far, Vince. But right now, the price of poker has gone up. The blinds are now $5,000 and $10,000, and we are playing $10,000 and $20,000 limit. Whoa, this is high-stakes poker.
Well, Chip Jett is the massive chip leader. It's going to be on him first. He doesn't want any part of this. He's going to throw his hand away.
Yeah, Chip has the chips. He's sitting on them right now.
Howard's going to call with King 4 of hearts.
And Cowboy checks, and here comes the flop. Flop is 6-5-3, giving Howard an open-end straight, and he checks. I'm a little puzzled by that.
That's right. He's got an open-ended straight, 4 to the straight. This is going to help Cowboy. He's picked up a little piece of this, a pair of 8s.
Well, he's picked up the top pair. Howard bet 20,000. Cowboy quickly called him.
Cowboy's got the pair of 8s.
Howard has an open-end straight draw.
Here comes the river card.
And another 8 comes off. A great card for Cowboy there.
Oh, yeah.
Howard checks, and Cowboy quickly bets 20,000. Wow. Now, what is Howard thinking about here, Vince?
Well, he's thinking about how he can get out of this game right now, because everything seems to be going the wrong. I can't believe he's going to call this.
He's calling this bet with King High, folks. Now, you're looking at the best limit hold'em player in the world, calling a man down with King High. Now, virtually all he could beat there is like a 7-10 or a 7-Jack. That's what he might have thought his opponent had.
Well, it goes to show you, sometimes you make that kind of calculated call. You know it's a long shot, but you're just saying maybe this other guy had a possibility of something, and he may even be lower, maybe have a worse hand. I mean, and you already have so much money invested in the pot. I still think that's kind of a weak call there.
Well, what Howard was thinking there, he knows the guy's not going to bet ace high on the end. He's not going to bet one of the lower pairs. So if he did make 3 of a kind, he might be bluffing with like a 7 and a 10 or a 7 and a Jack.
Now, Mike, the focus these players bring to the game is truly amazing. They are really zeroed in at the task at hand.
Well, you would think that nearly $300,000 in prize money would keep anybody focused, but you're right, Vince. These are excellent players, and they know that they must stay focused if they want to get that big payday.
I'll tell you something. Our own Shauna Hyatt went out and she spoke to these pros, how they keep their head in the game, and it's all in this week's WPT Poker Corner. Shauna.
Keep a lookout for a win on this WPT Poker Corner. In a poker game, it's crucial to note how and when your opponents act.
There's a lot going on at a poker table that you have to pay attention to.
A lot of their hand motions, their body motions, their demeanor. You know, these are all clues that
you have to pay attention all the time.
In fact, simply paying attention might be the #1 key to navigating your way to victory.
Information is everywhere at the poker table. Are your opponents tight or loose? Are they relaxed or tense? Are they paying attention or not?
Everything that they say and everything that they do could affect the way you play against it.
When I'm not in a hand, I'm still in the hand. I want to watch what everyone else is doing.
Paying attention, I think, is very important. A lot of people don't. A lot of people make mistakes.
I was actually sitting next to someone at a casino and they lit their hair on fire, and they didn't even notice.
The book might distract me a little.
Maybe you should read the book before you sit down.
Even players who seem to be ignoring it all aren't as tuned out as you might think.
I'll listen to my Walkman, early levels, and just kind of mess around. And then when things get a little serious, I'll press the off button. No one knows it. And now I'm really focused on the players, but they don't know I'm focused.
Some of the players think that I'm not watching what I'm doing. They think I'm not paying attention, but I am. I know everything that's going on, so it gives me a little bit of edge sometimes.
The best course is to keep your eyes and ears open and keep your focus on the table.
It doesn't take radar or sixth sense to know what your opponent has in his hand. If you pay close attention and carefully note the actions of the other players, then you'll put yourself in a good position to win.
And that ought to get your attention.
Well, Vince, that was some call by Howard there, but it put a big dent in his stack. He is now third on the totem pole with less than 100,000. He's only got about 80,000 left. Now, we're playing 10 and 20,000, so virtually you're talking about one hand left for Howard. That's about all he's got left.
And we're back to the action here. Well, he doesn't like this hand. He's going out. Now look at this. Cowboys picked up big slick, ace, king of clubs, and he's going to raise with it.
And Chip calls him with a 10-8 offsuit. He's in position. Cost him one bet to call. He does so. Here comes the flop. And look at this. Chip Jet has flopped two pair. Comes queen 10-8.
Yeah, well, he's going to swing and bet it.
The Cowboy calls.
Cowboy's only got a shot at a straight here.
And he hits it, Vince.
Oh, man.
The jokers come off. Now look at him checking right there. And Chip quickly checked right behind him. What a nice check by Chip Jet there on 4th Street.
Cowboy was trying to play it slow. He's going to take this pot down.
Cowboy bets at the river. Chip pays him off with two pair. Cowboy made an ace-high straight called Broadway.
Wow.
And he's going to Broadway here, looks like to me, Vince.
Well, they are playing fast here on this ship. Huge hand for Cowboy. He's got to love that. Taking a little dent at a Chip Jet's huge stack.
Well, these guys are not afraid to play a pot. They're not afraid to raise a pot. They'll stick their chips out there. These guys are going for the win. Nobody's playing for second place here.
Well, look at this. Howard's picked up queen 8 of diamonds. He's going to raise it. Cowboy's going out.
Now, Chip has a nice hand here with ace-jack in the three-handed game and just calls it.
Okay, we're going to see a flop again.
The flop is king 7-6. Chip checks. Howard bets. Chip calls him with ace-jack.
Well, he's getting a little stubborn here.
The turn card is the 7 of clubs.
Now the board pairs sevens here. Chip checks and Howard checks.
Helps neither player. Here's the last card.
And an 8 comes.
Oh.
Now Chip is betting here.
That helped Howard. He got a piece of it with a pair of 8s.
He just made 2 8s.
Look at this.
Chip shows the ace high, and Howard wins this pot with 2 8s. Now, in my view, Chip made a mistake playing this pot. He did not take the lead on this pot. By that, he didn't re-raise Howard before the flop. He didn't bet this hand on 4th Street. He waited until it was too late, until Howard caught his card at the river there. But the fault of this hand can be blamed on Chip himself, and I'm sure he knows it. Nobody knows it better than him. He didn't take the lead. He lost the pot.
And we're back to the action here. Okay, well, Howard's going out, and the Cowboys going up with ace-queen. And Chip Jet is going to call it with king 8.
So here we go. It's ace-queen versus king 8.
The flop comes 8-7-6.
Now look who got lucky. Mr. Jet picks up a pair of 8s.
Chip raises with the top pair, and the Cowboy calls him. So Cowboy has ace-queen.
The turn card is the deuce of clubs.
That's not going to help our little partner there.
Cowboy checks, and Chip bets 20,000.
It's not going to go away.
Check. He checks in the dark, the Cowboy. A king comes off, giving Chip Jet kings and 8s. Of course, he bets 20,000. Now the Cowboy, does he want to pay him off with ace high? That's the question.
He wants to stick around for the rodeo here.
And he folds the ace-queen.
Well, finally, Cowboy.
He lays it down. Chip Jet picks up the hand.
Even a train has to stop.
On limit poker, you see that a lot at the end because there's so much money in the center of the pot, it costs you one bet on the end to call, so that's why you see a lot of guys getting paid off at the river.
Don't go away. We'll be right back from the Party Poker Million 2 on the World Poker Tour.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. At the Party Poker Million 2, Poker Pro Chip Jet is riding high and looking to end this party with $250,000 payday.
Well, Vince, with that pot, Joe Simpkins now has got to gear up his lasso or he's going to be going out of here. He's got about $70,000 left is all out of the $1 million worth of chips on the table. Howard Letter with about $280,000 is in second place, and our chip leader with over $530,000 is Chip Jet.
We are watching some phenomenal play here. Having a great time on the Party Poker. 1,000,002. Down to 3 players. It's going to be on Howard again. And he's got his 10-8 offsuit.
Makes it 20,000 to go.
The Cowboys picked up a big hand. He's got Queen Jack of spades. Very enticing hand.
And he calls.
Chip's going to go out with an 8-3. Here we go with the flop.
8-7-6. Nice flop for Howard there. The top pair in a straight draw.
Yes, he does.
The Cowboy checks, Howard betting. Cowboy calls him, and look at this. Cowboy hits the joker on 4th Street to Jack.
Oh, man. He's got to love this.
The Cowboy bets 20,000 on 4th Street. And Howard has raised him. He's bet 40,000. He's setting the Cowboy all in right here.
This could be it. This could be the Cowboys' last ride.
Now, for Howard to win this pot, he has to catch an 8, 9, or a 10.
There are many outs for Howard here.
An 8, 9, or a 10. He knows he get outdrawn on 4th Street, but he's still got cards he can win the pot with. The Cowboy needs to win this pot to double up to stay alive, and he does it.
Oh! The Jacks are going to hold up. Cowboy is doubled up.
Resaddle that horse, Cowboy. He doesn't have to go back to the ranch yet, Vince. He's still alive.
He is one tough Cowboy.
Look at Howard now. He gives a little grimace there. He knows he got beat on 4th Street there.
No better feeling than when your hand holds up, when you've gone all in, you have no more chips, you think you're going to be eliminated, but then you're saved by the bell. So here we go. It's going to be back on Howard Lederer. He's picked up a suited connector, 5, 6 of clubs. He's going to raise again. Cowboy's got an 8 queen. Now look at this. Chip Jet's got a huge hand, a pair of kings.
And he 3-bets it. Bets 30,000 before the flop. And Howard calls him. Here comes our flop. It's 2 kings versus the 5, 6 of clubs. And the flop comes Jack 3 deuce.
Chip's going to bet.
He bets 10,000. Howard bets 20,000 with an inside straight draw. Chip re-raises him, makes it 30,000. Howard calls.
This is turning out to be a massive pot. Howard doesn't believe Chip at this point.
And now a 5 comes off, giving Howard a pair also, in addition to a straight draw.
Chip bets it, and Howard's just going to call this time.
Now it's 20,000 bet and called. And the deuce comes off. A nice card for Chip Jet right there.
Here comes Chip again.
Chip bets 20,000 here. And Howard calls.
Chip shows pocket kings.
A monster pot, over 200,000 in that pot, Vince.
Well, Howard just got a little carried away there, got a little too aggressive, didn't put his opponent on the huge pair, and he has to pay it off.
Boy, a huge pot right there for Chip Jet. That puts him way up over 600,000 in chips and whittles Howard down to about 117,000. And the Cowboy has about 123,000. So a substantial chip lead right now for Chip Jet.
$250,000 at stake. We're down to 3 players. Here we go again. It's going to be on Chip Jet to act first. And he's got a Jack 7 in his hand. He's not going to play.
And here comes Howard with a nice hand again, ace queen. He raises it up.
Real solid. And the Cowboys got Dolly Parton, 9-5.
And he calls to see a flop. Now here comes a flop, King Jack 10.
Oh man, Howard has just flopped a cinch straight.
Now, Cowboy calls this hand. Now, that's a bad call here, in my opinion, by Cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going to be a nightmare for Joe here. He's made what we call the sucker straight, the low end of the straight here, and it's going to cost him dearly here. Watch and see.
Checks, Cowboy bets.
Yes, Howard raises it up here on 4th Street.
He's doing the old check and raise, and Cowboy's going to bite.
Cowboy is gone for it, hook, line, and sinker. That's not a real comfortable card for Howard. Doesn't slow him down, though. He bets out.
Oh, Cowboy can't wait to get his money in.
And the Cowboy pays him off.
And he is shaking his head here.
And Howard Lederer is going to win this pot. Now, he played that hand very cagey. He flopped the best possible hand, Vince. He let out and bet.
Howard Lederer has hit a top straight. He's starting to make things happen. We did see him dip before. He looked a little depressed, a little angry, but he is coming back strong here. Back on Howard Lederer.
Howard Lederer is getting out of the lifeboat and back into his suite.
Now look at this rush. Howard has picked up big slick, ace-king suited, Mike.
A big hand.
Cowboy's got 10-king, but he's going to call it. And Chip's calling with a 7-10 of clubs.
$60,000 pot.
Oh, bingo for Cowboy. Queen, Jack, 9. The Cowboys hit the nut straight.
Oh, man, Star Spangled Banner going off in his head.
Come on in, boys. The water's fine.
And they are.
Oh, the Cowboys got to love this.
We are going fast. We're going to see the 4th Street.
Now the ace comes off. Doesn't hurt Cowboy. He's still got the very best hand possible.
He sure does.
A 4 comes off. The Cowboy is going to love this. He is tripled up. You can't do any better than that in a three-handed game.
Be proud of that straight, Cowboy. You ride that straight home.
The last of the online players is off the respirator and back in the match.
Well, let me tell you something about Cowboy. Don't let the friendly Cowboy outfit fool you. This guy is a poker hustler. I mean, he's the kind of guy that could pick your pocket over the telephone. He's here to play. This is a poker player. And we're back to the action here. And it's on Howard Lederer, the true poker face.
Well, you're right about that. His composure is the same when he wins a big pot or when he loses one.
Well, he's going to go out with the 6-3. Now, look at this. Cowboy's picked up a big hand, ace-queen.
Very nice hand for Cowboy.
He raises, and Chip Jet is going to call with a king-4. Here we go again. Oh, man.
It's king 8-7. Nice flop right here for Chip Jet.
And Cowboy locked in, has to call.
Yep.
Next card is a 7.
7's not going to help Cowboy either.
No.
He's being stubborn. He's going to call this, Mike.
He calls him again.
Last card coming up.
And the deuce comes off. Cowboy checks. Chip bets, of course. And Cowboy calls him again and pays this off.
Oh, that's going to hurt the Cowboy.
Well, just unfortunate there, but Cowboy's just calling his money off a little bit too much here. You can see the inexperience showing a little bit with the Cowboy, but what a ride he's had, Vince, to get this far.
Well, I give him credit. He was stubborn about it. You don't push around a Cowboy.
If he doesn't win the next pot he plays, he's going to be out where the buffalo roam, I can tell you that.
Okay.
In the meantime, we forgot to tell everybody the price of poker has gone up. We're now playing $15,000 and $30,000 limit, which means the blinds are $10,000 and $15,000.
It's on Chip. He's got king, queen this time of clubs. He's going to raise it up.
And here comes Howard. Howard's going to call him.
He's got jack, king. Look at this. Cowboy's got a pair of deuces. He's going all in with his money. But at this point, he's actually a little bit of a favorite.
So he's gone all in for 20-some thousand. We have a three-way pot with the Cowboy all in here.
Can he do it again? Escape this?
You are watching exciting action on the World Poker Tour.
Don't sail away. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. Cowboy Joe Simpkins is in deep against poker pro Chip Jet. Who's next to leave the party?
We have a three-way pot, with the cowboy all in here. He's going to try to go out quacking with the 2 ducks. Let's see what happens.
Well, it's three-way action. He could win a nice pot if he should happen to win this. Let's see if the cowboy can get lucky.
It's ace-9-5.
So far, so good for the cowboy. He's in front. They're going to check it.
Check, check.
Here we go, 4th Street.
Chip Jet has a nut flush draw and just made the nut flush.
He just caught it. It's going to be all over for the cowboy.
Yep, the cowboy's going to be gone. Chip bets, Howard folds. And here it goes.
And this is it.
Home on the range for the cowboy now.
Cowboy's finally realizing it. He taps the table. What a gentleman.
Gets a beautiful ovation by the crowd.
Cowboy Joe Simpkins, our 3rd place finisher, takes $105,000 for his efforts.
Great playing with you. Good luck.
Well, it's not bad, though. He qualified for this term for $25, Vince, online to get in here. But I got a feeling he's going to be back. He loves this experience.
Gone are the minnows, and here are the sharks going head-to-head. Well, Mike, we're down to 2 players now. Heads up, the great Howard Lederer against Chip Jet.
Here comes the cash, Vince, and the trophy. It is beautiful. The crowd is dancing in the aisles, Vince.
Tons of money on the table.
The World Poker Tour is here. Well, Vince, we see why this is the greatest party in poker. The atmosphere here, the balloons, the celebration, the cash on the table, the champagne is there. We are playing heads up for this title of champion of the Party Poker $1,000,002.
Okay, well, we're seeing Chip Jet. A couple years ago, he was the all-round champion at the LA Poker Classic, up against superstar player Howard Lederer, winner at Foxwoods, going at it head-to-head, Mike.
Well, will Howard Lederer make it 2 for 2? Final tables on the World Poker Tour. Let's see. Here comes the action.
Well, it's on Chip Jet. He's picked up a big hand, ace-queen. He's going to raise it.
He raised it, makes it $30,000 to go. And Howard re-raises with 2 6s. And Chip calls him. So it's 3 bets already on the first hand of heads-up action. Here comes the flop.
Big action here.
The flop comes Jack, 7-7, 2.
And Howard fires out 15,000. Chip calls.
Chip's going to call quickly with this ace-queen high. He doesn't believe Howard has something at this point.
An 8 comes off.
The turn card is the 8 of clubs.
Howard quickly bets 30,000. Chip calls again quickly.
Chip's calling real quickly. Here comes the last card.
A 4, no help. Howard doesn't slow down. He bets 30,000. Chip calls him.
Howard shows pocket 6s.
Now, Mike, what's pretty amazing, I think Chip thought he had a winner there with the ace-queen.
Well, if Chip has any weakness, it is that on occasion he calls too many bets off, I think. But you see Howard, the greatness he is, he doesn't miss any value bets. He never slowed down betting those 2 6s. He believed they were the best hand, and he got maximum mileage out of that pot.
It's going to be on Howard. He's got 8-9.
8-9 of spades suited, and he raises on the button. And now here comes Chip calling a raise with an 8-5 offsuit. Now, folks, you don't have to play. You are allowed to fold.
Not these guys. Here's the flop. Well, Chip's hit a pair of 5s.
7-5-3, and Howard's made a straight draw. A 6 would give him an inside straight. Look at this. Chip Jet check raised on this hand.
Howard's calling real quickly.
Howard calls again.
The turn is the 7 of clubs.
Another 7 comes off. Chip bets 30,000, and Howard calls him with his inside straight draw here.
Yes, he does.
And another 7 comes off. That's a nice card for Chip. He now has a full house. He bets 30,000. We know Howard can't call with the 9 high. He folds his hand.
Well, he makes Howard a believer.
Well, I question his call before the flop there, but I'll tell you, he got maximum value out of that hand.
You're watching 2 great masters go at it head-to-head.
And Vince, I'll tell you one thing. These guys don't dance around the outside of the ring. They're right in the center of the ring, slugging back and forth. This is a power punch fest that we're seeing right here.
You're watching the Party Poker $1,000,002. Stay tuned.
of the World Poker Tour, 2 Las Vegas gamblers have made this tournament their own private poker party. But who gets eaten when there's only sharks left in the pool?
We are back at the action on board the MS Zandam on the Party Poker $1.2 million on the World Poker Tour. We're down to 2 players. We got a whale, we got a barracuda. Let's get back to the action. It's going to be back on Chip Jet to make his action first. What's he going to do? He's got 8-10 this time. He's going to raise it.
He raises on the button with the 8-10, and now here's Howard with the 4-7 offsuit, and he's defending the blind. These guys are not giving up a hand. Gentlemen, you can fold.
Okay, here's the flop. Oh, but look.
6 trade deuce. Howard checks. Chip bets, and Howard raises him with an inside straight draw. What a play here by Howard. And Chip calls him with a 10-8 there. Whoa. Howard makes a pair of 4s, and he bets.
He's going to make Chip go away.
Now, Chip called that re-raise with an 8-10.
Yes, he did.
Pretty amazing call there after a guy raises you.
You know, with that hand, Mike, Howard Lederer has now taken the chip lead.
Well, Vince, I got to tell you, the action is so fast and furious. Folks, if you just tuned in here, don't blink because the action is fast. We're gambling high, $15,000 and $30,000 limit.
These guys are just flipping it around, playing real fast. Okay, it's going to be on Howard. Now, look at this. He's picked up a real hand, a pair of jacks wired. He's going to raise.
Well, with that last pot, he took a slight lead with $450,000 to about $437,000 for Chip.
Here comes the flop.
Howard has a nice hand, 2 jacks, and flops a 3rd jack. He
Oh,
has the top
man,
set.
3 of a kind on the flop. He's betting it. Chip is going to call it.
And now a 7 comes on. Now this gives Chip an inside straight draw. He checks. Howard bets 30,000. And look at this. Chip has raised 60,000, Vince.
Oh, man, what is he in Alice in Wonderland here? Come on, what are you doing here? He's re-raising a man with a set.
Well, Howard bets 90,000 as he should here with the 3 jacks. Well, now Chip's got to call the other 30,000, hoping to strike a 5 here, which would give him a straight. That's what he's going to have to win this pot.
You're watching a disaster here for Chip Jet.
But I'm telling you, this is a huge pot. A 9 comes off. Chip doesn't get it. Chip checks. Howard bets 30,000.
Now look at Chip. This is a blood drainer. He just got so involved in this huge pot. He's got nothing now.
Vince, there's over 300,000 in this pot now. Now does he want to put in 30 more and just call him with ace high? He doesn't do it.
Puts up the white flag. That's going to do it for this hand.
Whoa. Nice pot right there for Howard Lederer. But in my mind, marginally overplayed by Chip Jet right there. He put a lot of extra chips in that pot. He didn't have to.
Howard Lederer taking control here, though. Getting back into action. Heads up, over $250,000 at stake. It's going to be on Chip Jet first to act. He's got 3-10 of clubs this time.
He calls, and Howard checks. Where's the marching band? We got a flop without a raise.
Well, Howard's got a junk hand, too, a 10 deuce.
Up comes Queen 10-6.
Now, that's interesting. They both hit their pair of 10.
And they both
check. Here we go, 4th Street.
The turn card is the 9 of diamonds.
Howard checks. Chip bets 30,000.
Yes, he does.
And look at this. Howard bets 60,000. Chip is going to call 30,000 with 2 10s here. That's a nice call when a guy raises you right there with a pair of 10s. Now, right now, they're tied.
The river card is a 4 of diamonds.
It's not going to help either player.
Howard leads out and bets 30,000.
A quick call from Chip.
Howard shows 10.
He turns up 10s. Chip turns up 10s. And they're going to split this pot. Just because Chip had the higher card, the 3 in his hand, and Howard had a deuce in his hand, those 2 cards don't play. You play the best combination of 5 cards on the board and in your cards, and that's why we have a split pot.
Well, they both play real fast. They both picked up those 10s. We are watching fast action, over $250,000 for the first prize. Okay, it's going to be on Howard this time. He's got Queen Deuce. Notice these players play almost anything. Chip Jet's got a Queen 7.
And he raises it. Now we've got a raise with a Queen 7 offsuit and a call with a Queen Deuce offsuit. Now I know you people at home wouldn't even think about playing these kind of hands.
Well, that's kind of an interesting flop there.
Now it's 6-5-3 here. Now both players have a straight draw. The difference, of course, is Chip has a 7 high straight draw. Howard has a 6 high straight draw.
The turn card.
Well, neither one helps there. But look at Chip is going to bet this. This guy's fearless. And he's going to take this pot, Mike.
Well, aggressive play paid off there, but of course he had the best hand. He doesn't know it. He had queen 7 against queen deuce.
You know, if I wasn't seeing these cards myself, I wouldn't believe it.
As you can see, when they get down to heads up and short-handed play, throw that book away, anything goes.
Well, Mike, I'm impressed with Chip. You know, he's not going away. This is turning into a school fight. He's got king 8 this time, offsuit, but he's going to raise. Howard Letter's got ace 8, and he's going to call it.
Now, Howard's in good position over him. It's ace 8 versus king 8.
And here we go.
And the flop is ace king 4.
Oh, man, they both hit a big pair. Chip's got kings, Howard's got aces.
Now, notice, Howard checked here, Chip bet, Howard raised him, and Chip called.
This 4th street's going to help Howard a little bit. He's got aces and 4s.
The board pairs 4s. Howard bets 30,000. Chip calls him. Whoa, and now a king comes at the river. What a card here for Chip Jet.
Oh.
Howard checks. Chip bets 30,000, and Howard calls him.
Oh, look at Howard smiling. Good hand. He knows he's been outdrawn big time there.
Look at that.
That is a huge turnaround, big card for Chip. And Howard can't quite believe that one.
Well, Howard looks stoic in defeat, but I can tell you, his stomach is doing somersaults right now, Vince.
That is called getting lucky on the river. Gotta love that.
I'm telling you, this is a slugfest. This looks like the first 3 rounds of Hearns and Hagler to me. They are swinging on every pot.
And Chip Jet, a great champion against the legendary poker player, Howard Lederer. You're watching the Party Poker $1,000,002. Stay tuned.
In poker, it's good to have multiple personalities. I'm always mixing up my play to keep people guessing. Who will I be this hand? Trapping Gus, who check raises your chips away? Aggressive Gus, who plays every hand no matter what? How I play is up to you. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
At the Party Poker $1,000,002, we're heads up for the money on the World Poker Tour.
And we're back to the action here. This time it's going to be on Howard. He's got queen 8 offsuit.
And he raises on the button in position, makes it 30,000 to go.
And Chip is not even thinking about folding with a 9-8. He's coming in.
$60,000 pot.
Here comes the flop. Now the flop is Jack 10-6. This gives Chip Jet an open-in straight draw.
Yes, it does.
And gives Howard an inside straight draw or a belly buster straight draw. Howard has the lead in this pot.
Turn card, 4 of clubs.
Chip checks, and Howard bets again with just queen high here.
Oh, man, he's just got queen high. Chip has a busted hand. What do you do?
Well, he's wanting Chip to lay his hand down. And the board pairs 4. Chip checks, and look at this. Howard is betting with a queen 8 offsuit.
Chip has really nothing. Didn't catch his hand, but he's got so much invested. It's only going to cost one more bet. Do you call it down?
No, he folds his hand.
Okay, well, Howard Lederer just slapped a little harder. He takes a little momentum.
Well, Vince, that's an interesting hand. Had Chip Jet raised on the flop there with an open-in straight draw and taken the lead in that pot, he would have won that pot because he would have been betting all the way down, and Howard couldn't have called him on the end with queen high.
Well, Mike, we're seeing some very interesting poker here. I got one word of advice. Do not try this at home. These guys are professionals. They know what they're doing. Don't try it at home or you'll hurt yourself. All right, it's on Chip again. He's got ace-jack this time.
Well, he's got another nice hand. He bets 30,000.
And Howard's got 4-ace, and, of course, he is going to call.
So he calls him. So we're going to have a flop here. 60,000 out there right now.
The flop is queen.
Queen Jack 6. Howard checks.
That's nice for Chip. He's picked up a pair of jacks there. He's got to like that. He's in front so far.
And a 4 comes on the turn.
Well, that's going to get him in a little trouble because Howard's got a piece of this now. Chip's betting with his pair of jacks.
He checks.
Howard's going to call.
Howard calls 30,000. And the river comes a 4. Whoa.
Oh, that's a miracle card for Howard.
This is Colt 44, giving Howard 3 4s. This is going to shoot Chip Jet right in the heart.
He's raising it up, of course, with his 3 4s.
Chip bets 30,000. Howard raising him to 60,000. This is going to be a nightmare for Chip Jet right
and
here.
He's going to call it down.
Howard turns over ace 4.
Now, folks, that is total disgust right there.
First sign of a little anger. Chip Jet, and I don't blame him.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. That is painful right there. That is runner. It had to come exactly 4-4 for Chip Jet to lose that pot. Whoa.
And look at Chip Jet, just ridiculously disappointed. The kind of outdraw that makes you want to go back playing crazy eights.
Slinging his chips in the pot right now. Now, he's trying to calm himself down and say, that's poker. But the truth is, he's in sort of a zombie state right now, Vince.
Action's back on Chip, and he's got king 6, and he's going to call. Howard's got ace 4 this time.
Howard checks.
Going to see another flop.
Flop comes Jack 6-4 of clubs.
Now that's interesting. Howard's got a pair of 4s.
Yeah, his lucky 4s he's got. And Chip's got 2 6s with the king of clubs. A very nice hand for him.
Yes, he needs 5 to the flush.
And another 6 comes off, giving him 3 6s.
He just checks it.
Well, he's got Howard drawing completely dead here.
The river transfades.
And Howard's going to bet this.
Look at this. He's going to raise it. He does raise it.
Loaded up, Chip. He's got 3 of a kind.
He put him in the trap. He's bet 60,000.
Howard's quickly going to call.
And Howard calls with the 4s. And it's 3 6s for Chip. And this is going to make him feel a lot better than that last hand.
This is quite a matchup. 2 superstar poker players going at it here. Over $250,000 at stake.
Well, it is. And after a terrible beat, Chip Jet took a minute ago. He just won that last pot.
Look at Howard. It's like he's recollecting every hand. Like he has a computer mind. Look at this man looking Chip over.
Looks like a professor of poker, doesn't he?
He certainly does. 2 fantastic players. Here we go. It's going to be on Howard again. He's got 8, 10 of diamonds this time. Chip's going to call with a king 5 offsuit. These guys don't fold a hand. And here we go with the flop. Oh, no, that's an interesting flop.
Jack 7-5.
Chip has hit a little piece of that pair of 5s.
Chip checked, Howard bet, and Chip raised him, and Howard called that. Now Howard has an inside straight draw.
Can he get lucky?
Chip bets, Howard calls.
Coming down to 5th Street.
And a 10 comes off, giving Howard 2 10s in this pot.
Oh, that's a good card for Howard.
Chip checks, and Howard bets the 30,000 for a value bet with the 2 10s. It gets paid off.
Oh, no, this is a very bad beat on the river. Look at Chip banging his fist on the table. That is upsetting.
Well, I can tell you, Howard's hit a little bit of the lottery here at the river here on a couple occasions to win these pots. So you can understand the frustration Chip has right now. You can't blame the guy for feeling a little bit bad in some of the beats he's taken at the river, but on the other hand, it's not over yet.
No, but there's $1 million in prize pool here. Heads up. Here we go. Back into the action. It's going to be on Howard here. Howard's picked up 10 3 of hearts.
He's going to just call this time.
Yes, he is. And Chip Jet has a king deuce offsuit.
And he knocks the table. We're going to see a flop here. Ooh, flop is king 10-3. This gives Chip Jet the top pair, and Howard Letter is flop 2 pair.
Oh, this could be a potential disaster. Chip is betting it.
He is check raised here.
Yes, he has.
And Howard calls him. Now, Howard has 2 pair. I don't think there's any way Chip's going to be able to get away from this hand. Well, the 7 of clubs comes off. Here comes Chip Jet. He's betting.
He's betting. He thinks he probably is in front right now.
And Howard is raising it to 60,000.
Sure, why not? He's got 2 pair. He's got him where he wants him. Can it hold up?
And Chip calls him.
This is a potential disaster for Chip. He's going to need a miracle on this last card.
He doesn't get it. The queen of clubs comes off. Now that puts 4 clubs on the board. Chip checks. Howard bets. He does not check. He's going to try to bust him right here, and he's going to do so.
This thing is over.
Howard Leder turns up 2 pair and wins this pot. He has become a 2-time World Poker Tour champion, Vince.
Yes, he has. He's done it. He hit the 2 pair. Chip Jet is going to come in second place, takes home $175,000.
Chip Jet takes that coveted entry into the World Poker Tour event championship final.
What an effort by Howard Lederer. He joins Gus Hansen in being only the second player to win this twice.
Amazing poker by both of these players, and we're going to see them again in the World Poker Tour championship event at Bellagio coming up at the end of the season, Vince. Howard, you have done it one more time here on the World Poker Tour. That is an amazing feat. You have now won a no-limit tournament and a limit tournament. Today you like limit.
Today I loved it.
From Shauna Hyatt, Vince Van Patten, and the entire World Poker Tour, I'm Mike Sexton saying thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the World Poker Tour.